Start a record. With that in mind, this is where I want to pick up with some stuff that we talked about last week. Obviously, there will be some connections to Tuesday, but I want to extend them in a couple of important ways. Okay, so let me go ahead and turn on my slideshow. Okay, so well, you know what? The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to introduce a couple more people through brief videos. Yeah. And then we're going to get to discuss close reading as an essential skill. Those are my two objectives today, right? So first, without further ado, let's find some videos of you. Let's embarrass some people. And by the way, if I'm going to embarrass you, I'm more than willing to embarrass myself. So get ready. Oh, sometime. Okay, wait. All right, let's go ahead and open up my email and let's see. Is there anybody who wants their video today? Is there anybody who wants to introduce today? Okay. Then I'm going to pick for you. Okay, come on. Where is it? Come on.
Can you pick Mary Bisharian, please?
Are you insane?
Who said that?
Shut up, please.
It's me, Gagik.
Oh, Gagik? Okay. Let's see. Yes, I can.
Please.
Thanks.
Okay, we're gonna start with Mary. All right, ready?
Hi, I'm Mary Bisharian, an 18 years old business student who wants to become a data scientist. I know, a little bit weird, but let's get to my hobbies. They're singing and playing the piano. And also, I'm a really funny, communicative person who loves making new acquaintances.
Awesome. I want to ask, why are you in?
Hi, I'm Mary Bisharian, an 18 years old business student who wants to become.
Why are you in business if you want to become a data scientist?
I haven't got accepted to data science, so I'm about to change my major.
Yeah. It's that's awesome. So you started out with business, but you're gonna move to data science as soon as you can.
Yeah, like I took all the data science courses, and so I'm about to change on my second semester.
Do you want to use data science towards business?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So tell me just a little bit about that. What are you thinking when you think about the intersection of data science and business? What are you thinking?
I really want to be a data scientist. Why? Because it's more like the combination of business and CS, and like by having a data science education, I mean, you're not only a business woman, for example, but not only but also a computer scientist, an engineer. And I don't know, I think it's like a better option.
Absolutely.
And it's developing major, so I think it will be a good idea.
That's very cool. No. I know. I think I know exactly what you mean. That it's a very solid foundation and something that you can use to apply towards business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Alexander Babka, we are going to view yours as well. Okay, hold on.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm 20. I'm a Czech, Russian, Ukrainian, Armenian cocktail. I'm a software developer at Pixar for 3 years, and also I'm a pro breakdancer. Yep, that's me. Live long and prosper.
Awesome. So you've been working at Pixar? That was awesome.
Yes.
How did you get the job at Pixar?
Well, actually, I finished some courses, programming courses, and after that, just I sent them my CV, and after some mentorship and challenges, I applied for a job.
Very cool. So do you know Madeline?
Yes.
Cool. She's I met her very soon after moving to Armenia. And she teaches, at least a lot of the time she'll teach she will teach freshman seminar courses too. But maybe you don't want to take a course
I know.
from your boss. Okay, cool. Thank you, Alexander. That's really awesome. Sorry that Zoom is not very good for breakdancing. And you said you were Ukrainian and Armenian and what?
Czech, Ukrainian, Russian, Armenian.
Your mother is Czech or Ukrainian or Russian or?
My mother is half Armenian, half Ukrainian.
Yeah. And your father is half Czech, half.
And father, yes, Czech and also Ukrainian and Russian. And a little bit Jew, but it's not actually proved, by the way, at this moment. But I'm kind of work about to know what kind of other nationalities I have in my blood.
You know that in certain ways that's a very American approach, right? Americans are like, I don't know, I'm a mix of all these different things, and we'll find out someday. It's a very American approach. Cool, very cool.
Thank you.
There is a test. Yeah. They'll send you a little swab that you swab your mouth for DNA and you send it back in the mail, and they tell you exactly what you are. Or genetically at least. In Jordan, I guess I'm only now finding out that there's the ethnic groups here. There's some that are Palestinian. There's some there's an Armenian there's an Armenian component here in Jordan. Wait, Mary, you were saying you were trying to tell me to use the Oban, yeah? Is that what it's called?
It was me, Obas.
Obas. Who is telling me that? Who is telling me that?
I was Mary Chukajan.
Yeah, Mary. And is that because you have roots in Jordan?
No, I don't actually. We were ordering from Jordan, Obas, and it helped me a lot. So
Okay.
That's why.
Okay. So it was the internet's fault, not like ancient families.
No.
Cool. I'll pause right there with videos for today. I want to continue to do introduction videos as they come, but I'm actually going to pause right there because it's a great place for us to move to our next discussion point, which I want to explore in several different ways. I'm going to push you guys in several different directions today. In order to discuss close reading as an essential skill. I have a couple of different ideas. I want to introduce a couple of different texts in a couple of different ways, but I want to propose that in fact that even, I'm going to throw this out here as kind of a segue. Do you know what a segue is? Does everybody know what a segue is? So a segue is a word for a connection between one thing and another. If I was, it's like it's a communication skill to move from one subject to another, right? So the segue here is I'm going to argue that even a human being is a text, right? It's different. But that's where I want to kind of jump in. I want to be a little bit disorienting today because I want to explore this in a couple of different ways, and I want to get your insight and your opinion. So please share in the group chat, or if you've got a comment that you'd like to make, I want you to go ahead and jump in with your comments. Or I'll be calling upon different people to share their point of view on this. Okay. So that's basically the goal for today. now that we've introduced a couple of people, the goal is to discuss close reading as an essential skill. Okay. Like I said, and I'm going to keep coming back to this, right? These are these 7 skills. I want to point out something about them though, right? Right now, we've focused on these 2 that are in red. And I think that they're a really great place to start. You'll wonder why building strong thesis statements might be at the top, but we'll come back to that at a different time. Okay, so we're looking at closely reading and annotating useful details from texts. Now, let's explore a couple of different things about this first. And I might jump around a little bit, actually, right? I want to look at a couple of words in here. First of all, annotate, right? What does it mean to annotate? Really quickly, anybody?
Like to highlight an idea that we want to discuss during the class.
Good. To highlight an idea that you want to discuss during a class, or highlight an idea from a text with the fundamental goal of adding notes to it, adding opinions to it, adding something to it, right? Like pointing to a part of a text and then saying, I'm going to explore this in a couple of different ways, right? Yeah. Okay, awesome. So then what are details?
Details are something that many people don't pay attention to, but they should. Because in details is the whole like
good. So they
idea.
So they don't pay attention to them, but they should, or at least they can. Who said that? Who said that? I'm sorry. I'm still trying to.
It's Mary. I'm sorry. I cannot turn my camera on because I have connection issues.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Thank you. That's perfectly fine. But yeah, okay. So within the context, traditionally speaking, within the context of a text, if you're going to annotate details, what are those details within a text, within a book or a newspaper article or an essay that you might write? What are those details? Those things that you should pay attention to?
The certain ideas, sentences, like the core thing, what the text is trying to say.
Well, actually, I'm gonna agree with you partially, and I'm gonna disagree with you partially, right? Yes, they are sentences within the text, right? But wait, what was the second half of what you said? You said they were sentences?
That they're the core ideas of the text.
So they're the core ideas of the text, right? I would say that ideas are slightly different than details. I know that I'm making a weird distinction, but like ideas are a little bit more like when you read a detail, ideas start to spin in your brain, right? We're going to explore this more. So maybe we should come back to this distinction between ideas and texts a little bit later.
Like ideas are more abstract?
Yeah, I think so, right? Details are the concrete, specific version of an idea, right? You write down an, okay, let's explore this in a little bit more detail. I think I'm getting ahead of myself. And then the other question that I want to ask is, or there's two questions that I want to ask. What are texts, A, and what does it mean to read? And fundamentally, an underlying question behind this is excuse me. Another fundamental question that, oh, we'll come back to that. Another fundamental question is, what is thinking, right? What's happening when we're thinking, right? Because obviously an idea is part of thinking, right? Details are also parts of thinking, right? Texts are part of thinking. It's weird. It's weird. We'll explore a little bit more, but okay. So I want to pause right now, and I want to say that there was an interesting thing in the Wallace text, right? Where he's basically making an argument about how liberal arts education is not about filling your head with knowledge. It's about teaching you dot, dot, dot. Can anybody finish that sentence for me?
Teaching you how to think, like how to think correctly.
Right, right. How to think, and he says that actually learning how to think is learning to have a little bit of control over what you think about, which details essentially you pay attention to, right? And that was his thing. Learn to worship the right kind of details in your life, and that sets you free. But you learn to worship the wrong kind of details, and you'll just be a dead slave to dot, 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 dot. And we can get into that, and I can agree or disagree. There's parts of it that I agree with. There's parts of it that I disagree with. But fundamentally, he's making an interesting point about an argument that's being made across education right now. And it's a fundamental, it's an argument that's very fundamental to education. What is the goal of education? I know you're writing about that in your paragraphs, but is the goal of education to give us knowledge or to give us thinking skills, right? And because one argument is that we have, Google to give us knowledge, right? If I want to know when something happened, if I want to know when exactly the Armenian genocide took place, I can look that up online, right? If I want to know, and there are critiques to this argument, but if I want to know, so I shouldn't be somebody who's filled with knowledge. In fact, I should be somebody who knows how to seek knowledge, right? And there's a fundamental difference, right? And there's the reason why I bring this up is because aside from the fact that it's connected to what we're talking about today, but I don't want you to worry about the content of my lectures, right? I'm never going to test you on any of this stuff. The goal of these lectures and the goal of these discussions is to explore ideas. I will obviously, like I said, I'll post this on Moodle, but I don't want you to necessarily think that this is a content-driven lecture where we're trying to or I'm trying to get you to remember a specific kind of information. So let me back up a little bit. Oh, yep. Okay, good. So if we are not a content-based course, if freshman seminar and fundamentally perhaps even liberal arts education is not a content-based model, it's a skills-based model, right? You're learning how to code. You're learning how to run a business. You're learning how to gather data, right? These are skills. You're learning how to communicate in English and communications, right? So if it's a skills-based model, right, why is close reading such an essential skill for scholars and academics?
May I try?
Actually, I want to hear what you have to say, Gohar, but I'm also I'm gonna call on somebody. Let's see who I want to call on. Let's see. Harutune. Can you pose an answer to this question? Why is close reading such an essential skill for scholars and academics?
I can try to answer this question why close reading is such an essential skill, because by close reading you get the details and the more close information about that article. Okay. So as we know, many things are based on little and small details that are not seen to the eye while you read it briefly like that. So I also fond of close reading because you get all the information and all the meaning that the reader wanted to give you, and that is why I think this is a very essential skill for scholars and academics.
Okay, good. I think that
Can I say something too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Okay, so there is, I think, a different term also for close reading, which is deep reading. and I don't think it's about like if you're not close reading, that doesn't mean you're reading like skimming. It just means you're reading something and you understand that information, but you don't necessarily think about it. But while you close read, you actually stop at some ideas and you actually think about them and you analyze them and then you move on. So you get much more from the text.
So you attend to specific things. I really like something. I'm going to come back to Hart really quickly because I really like when he mentioned that it's really focused, because a lot of times if you're just skimming through something, if you're just going through it very, very quickly, you might not catch stuff that's quite important but small, right? And how key that is that sometimes it's very, very small things that are the most important things to, as Lilith said, analyze and explore more deeply. So I absolutely agree with that. Yeah. And then Gohar, you
Can I
added.
say something?
Yeah.
Also, if you read by, as you said, deep reading, it's like you're focusing on something one at that point, the reading process on that one ideas, and it's kind of like a meditating process. So you're teaching your brain to focus only on one thing, which is that at that point is the reading, and also it helps you in on your work or something in your life. So you learn how to be aware to do only one thing and not to think about something else. Because there are a lot of people who are, while reading, they think, okay, I need to buy something or blah 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 blah, until they stay focused and they began to learn how to read deeply, and after that they know how to be aware of doing only one thing.
Yeah. And Gohar adds to that, Alexander, like meditation, it's like being present with the text, focused only on what's exactly in front of you, as opposed to I've got my phone out and I'm reading, on my phone, I'm reading an academic text, and I'm, scrolling TikTok, and I'm checking the news, and I'm buying something, and I'm ordering food. And yeah, absolutely. What's the difference when you are very, very hyper focused and present with the text? I like that. Excellent. Let's explore that a little bit further by asking, what is a text, right? Actually, hold on. I'm going to come back to this. Where is it? Okay. This is where I wanted to focus, because there's two things that are also being described. Sometimes we absorb a text holistically, right? And what I mean by that is by you just kind of let it wash over you, and it can very much be like being very present. This is when you're in like, take example, a fiction story that you really, really are enjoying, right? You are engaged with the characters. You are emotionally involved with the characters, ... This is the reading that we oftentimes think of when we think of reading. And it's very crucial because, as Gohar pointed out, it's very much like being present. When you are holistically reading something, you're not really, like, everything else kind of pulls away, kind of like meditation, right? When you're really holistically reading, one of the best ways to know that you're holistically reading is that you lose track of time, right? But then there's also critical reading, and Lilith was describing this with deep reading, and Hovinus was describing this with getting into those details. Can somebody tell me what maybe critical reading might also entail?
That maybe you're looking closely for any kind of flaws.
Good. Looking closely for, actually, I'll go back to flaws in just a second, but looking closely for anything, right? In fact, one of the crucial, that's funny. One of the crucial things about close reading, when you're gonna do something critically, is to define your objectives. Am I looking for flaws? Am I looking for hidden messages? Am I looking for a political motivation? Am I looking for something that's really going to make me interested, right? What are the objectives? Is this a sign for a class and I'm simply doing what the teacher is asking me to do with this text, right? Sometimes you read because you've made the choice, oh, I want to read something, so I'm going to sit down and read. Sometimes you read because other people tell you to read and to do it for a very specific reason, right? There's lots of different things going on here, right? So when I think about details and when I think about closely reading texts, this page that you're looking at right now is a pretty good summary of very, very, very brief summary of what that might look like, right? So how do you identify details within a text? Well, first you read it holistically, right? You just go through and let it kind of wash over you. The second time, you might want to define some objectives, right? And then go back through, right? Now, I'm not saying that every single time everybody's going to have the opportunity to read through everything twice. But I think that it can be a good habit to get into, right? And some of the things some of the objectives that you can define for yourself are some of the things that I'm encouraging you to do down here, like perhaps ask your instructor what they want, right? You read it one time and you're like, I don't know what this means. Or maybe you do understand it, but you're like, okay, so what is my instructor trying to get me to get out of this, right? Am I supposed to write a paper about this? Am I supposed to be prepared for a discussion, ... How could I better prepare for a discussion, right? Through reading this text again. What could I do for myself, right? I often encourage students to read texts aloud if they are having trouble with them, right? Engaging in discussion, taking notes, blah, 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 blah. These are obviously only a couple of different things that you can do as you read. Okay, so I need to pause right here because we need to jump out and jump back in. But when we come back, I want to move our discussion from what is reading to what are texts, okay? So I'll be right back in just a second. I'm gonna stop my share. And I'm gonna end the meeting. I'll be right back in just a moment.